There is someone you know who works fewer hours than you, who doesn't obsess over morning routines, who doesn't have a color-coded calendar, who doesn't grind through the weekend, and yet, somehow, they get more done. Their relationships are better. They seem calmer, more focused, more alive. And the worst part? They're not even trying. If that makes you feel a strange mix of confusion and envy, good. Because what I'm about to tell you will completely reframe everything you believe about productivity, effort, and success. The title of this video is called The Do Nothing Method. And no, it is not about being lazy. It is about something far more radical than that. It is about the possibility that everything the productivity world has been selling you is not just wrong, it is actively working against you. Stay with me, because this changes things. We live in the age of doing. Hustle culture tells you that more is always better. More hours, more tasks, more optimization. There are apps to track your focus, apps to track your sleep, apps to tell you whether your morning was productive enough. We have turned human existence into a performance review. And here is what nobody tells you about that. The brain does not work like a machine. You cannot run it at full capacity indefinitely. You cannot push it harder and expect better output. In fact, neuroscientists at the University of Illinois discovered something that should be printed on every productivity book ever written. The brain stops seeing what it has been staring at for too long. They called it attentional habituation. In simple terms, the harder you try to focus without breaks, the less your brain is actually processing. You are not working, you are performing the idea of working. And deep down, you already know this. You know those days where you sit at your desk for 10 hours and feel like you accomplished almost nothing. You know the exhaustion that isn't just physical, it is something heavier, a tiredness in your thinking, a flatness behind your eyes. That is not laziness. That is your brain screaming at you to stop. Now, let's be precise about something. The do nothing method is not a permission slip to watch television all day and call it strategy. It comes from a concept the ancient Chinese called Wu Wei. 2 words, Wu meaning without, Wei meaning force, effort, action. Together, effortless action. Or more accurately, action that is perfectly aligned with the natural flow of things. The Taoists observed something that modern science would later confirm with brain imaging. The most effective state for human performance is not maximum effort. It is a state of relaxed alertness, not tense, not passive, but open, present, unforced. Think of the best athletes in the world. When they are performing at their absolute peak, what do they look like? They look easy. Michael Jordan midair, Roger Federer at the baseline, a jazz musician completely lost in improvisation. They are not straining, they are not gripping tightly. They have entered what psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called the flow state, a condition where performance becomes effortless precisely because the person has stopped fighting themselves. This is Wu Wei in action. And here is the critical insight. You cannot force your way into that state. The harder you try to be in flow, the further you push it away. So what do the people who seem to effortlessly outperform everyone around them actually do differently? Principle 1, the empty space rule. High performers don't fill every minute. They protect empty space like it is their most valuable resource, because it is. When your schedule has no white space, no unscheduled time, no silence, your brain never gets to do its most important work. Here's something remarkable from neuroscience. The brain's default mode network, the network that activates when you are doing nothing, is the same network responsible for creativity, problem solving, emotional processing, and self-awareness. In other words, your brain's most sophisticated work happens when you are not consciously working. The person staring out the window is not wasting time. They are running the deepest software their mind has. Action step. Look at your schedule tomorrow. Find one slot, even just 20 minutes, and write the word empty in it. Do not fill it. Do not be productive in it. Do not check your phone in it. Just let your mind wander. You will be shocked what surfaces. Principle 2, the resistance signal. Every experienced sailor knows this. When the wind is against you, you do not row harder, you adjust the sail. The do-nothing practitioners have developed a sensitivity to what I call the resistance signal. It is that feeling when a task feels like pushing a boulder uphill, when every sentence you write feels wrong, when every decision feels impossible, when you keep opening the same document and closing it again. Most people respond to this signal with more force. They push harder, they shame themselves, they make lists. But the do-nothing method says something different. Resistance is information. It means you are either trying to force the wrong thing or you are trying to force the right thing at the wrong time. The Taoists had a phrase for this, pu. It means uncarved wood. The idea is that before you force a shape onto something, you must first understand its natural grain. Wood splits easily in the right direction. The same is true for your energy, your creativity, your ideas. When something feels like enormous resistance, do not push harder. Step back, do something else, sleep on it. Come back tomorrow. 9 times out of 10, the problem will have solved itself, not because you ignored it, but because you gave your subconscious the space to work on it without your conscious interference. Principle 3. Single tasking as a radical act. In a world obsessed with multitasking, doing one thing at a time is almost rebellious. Research from Stanford University showed that people who multitask heavily are actually worse at filtering irrelevant information, worse at memory tasks, and worse at switching between tasks efficiently. The multitasker believes they are doing more. In reality, they are doing everything badly. The do-nothing method is not about doing nothing literally. It is about doing one thing at a time with your full presence. Not your phone checked, email monitored, Slack notification presence. Your actual, undivided, completely here presence. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you work, just work. This is not a new idea. It is the oldest idea in the world, but we have systematically unlearned it in the name of efficiency, and we have paid the price in exhaustion, anxiety, and the hollow feeling that we are always busy, but never quite alive. Principle 4, the 20% rule. Here is a pattern you will find in almost every high-performing person who seems effortless. They work at about 80% of their maximum capacity. They never fully sprint. They always leave something in reserve. This is not laziness. This is biomechanical wisdom. Elite long-distance runners never run their fastest pace in training. They run at a pace that feels almost too easy, so that they can sustain it day after day, year after year, while their competitors burn out chasing intensity. When you always operate at 100%, there is nothing left for the unexpected. No flexibility, no creativity, no joy. But when you hold back 20%, you stay fresh enough to respond when it matters. You have energy for the ideas that arrive uninvited at 10 p.m. You have patience for the people who need you. You have curiosity left for the problem that actually interests you. The 20% rule is not about underperforming. It is about performing sustainably, which, over a decade, compounds into something that 100% always people can never touch. Principle 5. Let boredom work for you. This one is perhaps the most counterintuitive of all. We have declared war on boredom. Every moment of potential boredom is now filled with a screen, a podcast, a notification. We are never bored, and we are less creative, less patient, and less happy for it. Researcher Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire found that participants who were assigned to do a boring task first, like copying numbers from a phone book, showed significantly more creativity afterward than those who started directly on a creative task. Boredom is not a problem to solve. It is a gateway. It forces the brain to look inward, to make connections, to generate the ideas that only emerge in the quiet. The lazy person who stares at the ceiling for 20 minutes before starting their work is not procrastinating. They are priming their mind. They are letting the soil breathe before planting. So let's come back to that person you know. The one who seems to do less and achieve more. Now you can see them clearly. They are not lucky. They are not gifted with some mysterious natural talent. They have, consciously or not, learned to work with the nature of the human mind instead of against it. They protect empty space. They read resistance as information. They do one thing at a time. They never fully deplete themselves. They let boredom do its work. The result looks like magic from the outside. From the inside, it just feels like peace. And this is the deepest truth inside the do-nothing method. The goal was never to do less. The goal is to stop wasting energy on the wrong things: forced effort, performative busyness, self-punishment, so that when you do act, every movement counts. The Japanese have a concept in martial arts called mushin. It means no mind. It is the state a master reaches where they stop thinking about what to do and simply respond. The years of training disappear. The effort disappear. What is left is pure, fluid, effortless action. That is the destination. And paradoxically, you get there by letting go of the need to arrive. We have been taught that more effort equals more results. That rest is a reward you earn, not a tool you use. That if you are not grinding, you are falling behind. But the evidence from neuroscience, from psychology, from the quiet observations of ancient philosophy points in a very different direction. The highest performers in the world are not the ones who work the hardest. They are the ones who have learned when not to work, when to stop, when to wait, when to simply be still. And in that stillness, something shifts. The answer you were forcing finally arrives on its own. The creative block dissolves. The decision that felt impossible becomes obvious. not because you did more, but because you finally did nothing. And in doing nothing, you got out of your own way. Start small. Tomorrow morning, before you open your phone, before you check your email, before you make a list, sit quietly for 5 minutes. Do not meditate, do not journal, do not optimize. Just sit. Let your mind do what it does when no one is watching. Notice what happens. Notice what arrives. Because the most important things in your life rarely show up when you are frantically busy. They show up in the spaces in between. The question is, are you leaving any?